Hello, so welcome to my first reading vlog of 2021. Today is sadly my last day of my holidays and I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done before I go back to work. I'm somewhat worried about this week because I know that I'm going to have to go into the office every day, which I feel like is going to be somewhat overwhelming for me, having been just on a road trip enjoying nature for a couple of weeks, but hopefully I will survive. I am going to try and fit in some reading around all of the work I know that I need to do this week. So firstly, I'm still continuing Replica by Lauren Oliver that I was reading in December. So this is the one where it's like, wow, that's upside down. It is two stories. One is a story about Lyra and the other one is Gemma, but they're like interwoven stories. So you can either read one story first and then the other one, or what I'm doing is alternating chapters, which is why I've got two bookmarks in and it's very confusing, and every time I pick up the book it's like complicated to work out which side I'm supposed to be reading from, and when I'm trying to look and work out how far through I have no idea. I mean, the sections kind of look even, so maybe I'm 2/3 of the way through. I really would like to finish this today, but I've got a lot of other stuff I'm doing today, so we'll see what happens. As well, I have this Babysitter's Club graphic novel, So Christie's Big Day. The Babysitter's Club books were some of my most favorite when I was a kid, so I've been enjoying seeing the graphic novel adaptations. This one's just one about Christie's mother getting married to her stepfather. It's really a kid's story, but I like to read them. I also have another kid's story, so this is The Kneebone Boy. It's a book I got from a little free library, and it's actually an ex-library book. I don't really know what it's about, some kind of spooky children's story with weird kids. But hopefully, since it's a children's book, it'll be easy for me this week. It's going to be a hard week, so I've purposely picked easier books. And this one should be fairly easy too, because it's YA fantasy and the text is not that small, so I don't know why it's taking me so long. Probably because, to be honest, the logic in this is pretty flawed. A lot of what the characters are doing doesn't make any sense. And also, so we've got this research facility with clones. That's Lyra's story. She's a clone. And then partway through the story, Gemma and Lyra meet up. And don't know how not to spoil this, but it's really obvious what's coming right from the beginning. But it doesn't actually happen exactly like this. But we end up with two characters meeting each other. One of them's a clone, the other one doesn't think they are. They have faces the same, except one is very thin and has no hair and kind of sickly, and the other one is fairly relatively healthy with like long hair, and she keeps complaining about how fat she is all the time. And then when they see each other, this girl and this guy are like, whoa, she has your face. But I don't think it would be that obvious if they really had those other physical attributes being so different. I think you would be like, oh, she kind of looks like you. So I thought that didn't make sense. Then the story continues. And I feel like if you've been like, oh my god, this girl has my face, like that would be a pretty big focus for you, and you'd be trying to work out like, why does she have my face? But no one's really talking about it that much. She has a few thoughts about it, but she just kind of like goes, oh, well, it must be because of something, and she's not worried about it. I don't understand. And then these other two clones, like they've got safety and they just wander off with no idea of where they're going. Why would they do that? I feel like a lot of things are happening in this book just to follow the plot that the author wanted, and there are some cool ideas in here, but honestly, just most of the time it doesn't make sense. Which, I mean, in a lot of ways it's a YA dystopian, and that's kind of what you get, so I don't know what I was expecting. I shouldn't be surprised. Anyway, also, I am also listening to an audiobook. So at the moment I'm listening to Full Moon by Jim Butcher. This is the second book in the Dresden Files. Now, I have my doubts about continuing this series, but this audiobook hold came through, so I thought, alright, we'll try it. And I'm trying to just like forget about the way that all the women are the same and potential love interests and not worry about that aspect. I hate the way that it describes every woman as beautiful and like they're kind of different, but they're kind of just the same, and I don't like it. But I'm trying to just focus on the mystery. So the Dresden Files is all about this wizard named Harry Dresden, and he helps solve magical crimes, but he's also in a bit of trouble with the Wizard Council, and it's kind of a bunch of other stuff going on. Overall, it's not amazing, but I feel like so far I don't want to jinx it, but so far I'm enjoying the second one more than the first one. We'll see how we go as it continues. I'm not sure what other audiobooks we'll get to this week, but I guess we will see. I think this week's going to be somewhat chaotic, but let's see what happens. Hello! So I survived my first day of work, but only just, which is why I'm only getting back to you after the second day of work. But reading wise, I actually have been doing okay, which is maybe because I'm using that as an escape from all the other things I'm supposed to be doing. No, that's not true, because I haven't read as much as I would like to be. So what I did manage to do is read quite a lot of Full Moon, that second book in the Dresden Files, and in fact I finished it. I think during Sunday I did heaps of housework, and then I commuted on Monday and Tuesday, and I finished it. And I actually liked it more than I thought I would. Part of that I think is that I just told myself I was not going to be bothered by the way that he writes women and the way Harry interacts with them, and like there's a little bit where it kind of hints that it's aware that the way Harry treats women is not a good way to treat women, but still describes them in a dumb way. But anyway, I decided to overlook that, and I really focused on the ways that the book is similar to the Kate Daniels series, which is a very similar like urban fantasy story where our main character is helping to solve magical crimes. In the Kate Daniels series, she's a mercenary. Harry Dresden's a wizard, but they're both solving crimes. They're both really focused on helping people. And I think sometimes the writing style is actually quite similar. So I focused on the elements that were similar, and I enjoyed it a lot more. I thought the mystery was more interesting. There was a lot more action. So it's given me more hope for the series, and I guess at some point I'll pick up the third book. And we'll see how we go. As far as the other books, then the next audiobook that I picked up was the final book in the Percy Jackson series, the first series, so the fifth book. It's called Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian. The Percy Jackson books, if you don't know, are just these stories about a boy who is half human, half Greek god, and by the fifth book there's a big war between the Greek gods and the Titans, and the demigods are all stuck in the middle, and there's a prophecy that maybe something really bad's gonna happen involving Percy. They're kind of like middle grade young adult books, and they're just a lot of fun. I really like how it incorporates the Greek mythology into the stories, into like the real world, and so it's just a light read, which is perfect for when you're having to go into the office every day and your body and your brain are really unhappy about it. As far as physical books go, so I've been continuing to read this. I think I've got less than 100 pages to go, and there was one really cool bit where there's a big reveal about, I don't know which way around to turn this to make it run the right way, big reveal about Gemma's part of the story, but it was told in Lyra's part of the story, so that would be really interesting, because depending on how you were consuming the story might mean you get that information in a different position. Gemma hasn't found out about it yet, so I guess we'll see when she finds out about it. But otherwise, this is still a little bit ridiculous in terms of not being very realistic. And I also get a bit frustrated in this because of the fat rep in the Gemma side. Like, maybe it's kind of realistic, but she spends a lot of time talking about how awful it is that she's fat. And I mean, I guess in the end, maybe she'll learn something about it, but I'm afraid it's not going to be addressed in a way that satisfies me. But I actually think I'm going to put this aside for tonight. Not that I'm going to get much time for reading tonight, because I'm trying to put together some videos, but hopefully I'll get some time, and I'm actually going to pick up Christie's Big Day, the Babysitter's Club graphic novel that I have, because this is due back at the library tomorrow, and this, you might be surprised to find out, but it actually has the longest hold queue. I think the only book I have seen at the library with a longer hold queue was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Maybe there was another one? Anyway, I am going to read this tonight before bed, and I think it'll just be a really nice light read, which is perfect. And then tomorrow I can return it to the library. Hello, I just finished work and I really just want to go to sleep, but that is not what I'm supposed to be doing, so I need to wake up. I am here because I am going to return this to the library. I read it last night. I really enjoyed it. It was pretty much exactly the story that I remember reading as a kid, but the pictures are cute and it was told in a really fun way. I really liked even like the pictures of the wedding. Pretty nice. Just a nostalgic read for me. What else have I read? I've been continuing Percy Jackson, and I am 57% of the way through. I'm really enjoying it. It's quite clever. There is some of the action I get a little bit bored with, but there's so many hints about what might be going on. Like, there's a spy. Who's the spy? I'm not sure. I have suspicions that certain people are going to be betraying other people, and Percy's having to make a really difficult decision, but we don't know what the decision is. We just know it's been prophesized, and he has had to make some decisions. It's like, is that the decision? I don't know. So I'm really enjoying it, and hopefully I'll finish it in the next couple of days, and then I will know all the hints. It's kind of interesting because there's definitely things where I'm like, ooh, is that a hint? I'm really liking it. I can see why a lot of people like the series when they read it as a kid. I didn't manage to read any more of Replica, but I will try again tonight if I don't fall asleep, I guess. I kind of suspect I'm still not going to finish it. I really actually want to start reading Blood Air by Ilona Andrews. So this came through. I had a pre-order on the ebook, and I have actually now ordered the paperback, because when I made a pre-order on this ebook, the paperback wasn't listed yet. But I kind of want to just put everything aside and read this. Mostly I like being a planner in terms of my reading, but every now and then a book comes along and I just want to drop the plan. But I've been doing really terribly at the plan lately, and this is the first month where I feel like maybe I could catch up. So I don't want to put the plan aside. So instead I just need to do really well at the plan, get all those books finished, and then I can read this one. I can wait a little while, I think. Hello. So I feel like I've actually been half asleep since I last talked to you, and then this morning I woke up feeling slightly better, but now I have a migraine, so I'm trying to still be productive, but not being as productive as I would hope. I just think this week it's been so hot. It's been really hard to sleep at night, and then once you miss out on some sleep, you start just making really bad decisions, and like everything takes longer, so then you're running out of time and you stay up late again, and then you get into this cycle of just never getting enough sleep, which I always knew was going to be a bit of a problem for my first week back at work. But I guess I survived, so that's good. What I did manage to do though during that time is I still actually managed to read quite a lot. So firstly, I finished off Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian, and as I expected, I really liked it. It came together in a really clever way. It always kept you guessing about how the prophecy was going to be fulfilled, and there were a few twists and turns that were pretty clever, and the ending was pretty satisfying. So that was good. I actually haven't decided if I'm going to continue reading any more of the books in the Percy Jackson world. I had thought I would, but I've been trying to like cut down on all the series that I am continuing on, because there's just too many, and I don't need to continue every series I start. I'm really bad at it, like continuing series that I'm not even enjoying. I do like the Percy Jackson books though, but at the same time, they're very young for me. Like, they're never gonna be amazing 5 stars. I'm still only gonna give them 4 stars because I'm not that connected to them. So I don't know. Should I read some more of the books? I haven't decided. Maybe at some point on audiobook. Anyway, once I finished that, I started reading the audiobook of The Original by Brandon Sanderson and Mary Robinette Kowal, and it was much shorter than I thought it would be. It was only like 3.5 hours. So I finished that on Friday while I was commuting. I didn't really like it, but one thing I'll say about the audiobook is it has all this like background effects and like this music with this like driving bass. I think especially when there's like action scenes, or like I think as we're coming up to the end of the chapters, it would do this like and I really can't stand audiobooks that have a lot of sound effects and like music in the background. It just would always distract me from the story, and I really wish it wasn't like that. I'm sure a lot of people really like it and think it adds to the atmosphere, but for me it just really made it harder to listen to. So basically the originals is this story about this woman, or a temporary clone of this woman that they have created, and basically she's got 4 days to try and figure out why her original self murdered her husband. As expected with a Brandon Sanderson book, there were heaps of twists and turns. I know with this one, like, Brandon Sanderson wrote it with Mary Robinette Kowal because he didn't have the time. Like, he just doesn't have the time to write all the ideas he has. And I know that Mary Robinette Kowal is actually really good at writing in different styles and adapting to other people's styles, and I think it seems like a really good collaboration. I enjoyed it. I just wish it was a little bit longer, but at the same time, like, the story all wrapped up. It was pretty much everything the story needed to be. But it was an interesting world, so it'd be cool to get some more stuff in that same world. They basically have like theming, so there's like, I guess, like chips in their brain or something, computers in their brain that control what they see, and so the theming means that you can choose a theme and everything you look at will be kind of colored by that theme. So then you maybe don't even know what things look like. In fact, she realizes, because this clone doesn't get all the theming, and so she realizes that when she was younger she had edited oranges to be sweeter, and so when she tries an orange she's like, oh, this isn't what they meant to taste like. Some really interesting ideas in it. I did enjoy it. And then continuing with audiobooks, since then I have started the audiobook of Queenslayer by Sebastian de Castell, but I haven't got much into it. These books are also like YA, young YA books about this boy named Cal who, just as he was about to do his magic exams, realized he was losing his magic. He's ended up going on the run, and every book kind of starts with him in a really difficult situation and he has to go through some difficulties to get himself out. So I'm still in that part of the book where you still don't really know what the book's going to be about. But in general, he's just trying to go around and solve his problems. Anyway, I do enjoy them. They're a lot of fun. I really like the way that the main character will come up with these crazy schemes and they won't be pulled off in the way that he was hoping, or even in the way that you expected. So I'm enjoying that. As well, I finished reading Replica, and I'm kind of frustrated. There was a bit near the end that I thought was a really cool twist, and I was kind of enjoying the action, and I was willing to like let go of all the things that had not been realistic, and I thought maybe the ending has pulled it off, but then the very ending was just very unsatisfactory. Like, okay, we had a big kiss. Good. I don't really care. The other characters, so that was, spoilers, but Lyra's ending was pretty unsatisfactory. Gemma's was okay, I guess. Also, right near the end, there's this line where Lyra is in this room and there's a bad guy gonna come and see her, like he's entered the house, and so she's in danger, and there was a line like, a drip of sweat ran down between her breasts or something. Like, she's a skinny clone, been very sickly her whole life. She's probably like 16. I don't really think she would have breasts for sweat to drip between. And in fact, I think when something really stressful happens and you realize you're in a dangerous situation, you don't go, oh, there's sweat between my breasts. Like, what? So there were just some lines in this where I felt like it was trying too hard and it didn't pull it off. So I'm going to give it a 3 stars because I think for the target market, it's not that terrible, but there were a few things I thought were a bit and it just wasn't as realistic as I would have liked for a book about clones. And then since finishing that last night, I did start The Kneebone Boy by Ellen Potter. Honestly, I have read so many books this week somehow. I don't know how. But I've started reading this. It's very similar to A Series of Unfortunate Events. Probably not quite as well written, but the same kind of tone. We've got these very strange children. Their mother is missing, has been missing for 20 years, and there's a rumor that the oldest son killed her. Not true, as far as we know. Their father also often travels and he goes and paints portraits of ex-royalty. That's his job. It's very strange, and there's all these stories about all these ex-royals as part of the story. I also really like right at the beginning, it basically tells you that one of the children is the one writing the book, but you have to guess which one it is, and I think you can guess pretty quickly, but it was kind of fun to pick up those clues, and I think if you were a younger person you might pick up on those clues slower or be less sure about them, so that that just kind of adds another element to it. I'm going to try and finish reading this today. It's really quick to read because it's a children's book. Other than that, also here, I have a package that I got in the mail. Don't look at my address. So I think I know what this is, but I thought I would wait to open it with you. Oh, why does that never work for me? I think I know what it is. Is it beautiful? Oh, it's beautiful. It's my own copy of Way of Kings, the one with all the beautiful art. It's got these beautiful maps in the front and the back. It has like all these sketches through it. They're not all necessarily amazing, but I'm excited to go back and reread this series and make notes as I go, and I'm happy to have my own copy. And like I can take off the dust jacket, which I could never do with the library versions. Oh, this is actually beautiful. Look at this. Ooh, pretty. I actually really like that without the dust jacket. And it's got like one of those symbols on the front. You can't see it. There's all these symbols involved in the Stormlight Archives. I'm not an expert in them yet, but I would like to be. Cool. I'm excited about that. I'm going to go and try to get back to being productive, although to be honest, I've still got a headache, which is very annoying, and I've got like, when I get migraines, what I mainly just get is a vague headache and like random blurry bits across my vision, which get in the way of doing anything computer-based. That's very annoying, but really I should not look at the computer because looking at the computer always makes it worse. So I might read my book until it goes away. And maybe I need to drink something. Ugh. So do you think that my hair looks significantly greener than it did at the start of this vlog? Like at the start of the vlog I thought I could pretend my hair was normal color when I went to work. And now I'm like, this is not really normal at all, but it's okay because everyone at my work has been pretty open to me having not quite normal colors, including like executives. So it's all good. I've kind of snuck my way into having coloured hair at work. But anyway, I thought I would wrap up this vlog because it's Monday now. The week is over. What I did do last night is I stayed up and I finished this. Honestly, I stayed up too late. But even though this is just a children's book, I was really enjoying it. In fact, I enjoyed it so much, I think I'm going to keep it. And so I like took the plastic off the cover and it almost is like new now, except that I wasn't able to get these stickers off. I might try some more tricks to try and get it off, and then it'll be like a new book. Cool. So I really liked the way this was written, and I thought it was really clever. In fact, almost maybe too clever, because right at the very end, when it did the like big reveal of the final kind of big thing, it said like, as you may have guessed, blah 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 blah. And I paused because I was like, what? It wasn't what I expected at all, and I 100% did not guess it. So I don't know, maybe I'm stupid because this is a children's book. Maybe it was just that I was so open to any possibilities being true because of the way that it was written. Anyway, if you like a series of unfortunate events, and this one's not bad, I do think it would have been cool if it was a series like a series of unfortunate events and it continued on. And I'm a bit sad that it isn't, although I mean it isn't really set up with a storyline that would continue. Maybe it could. But there aren't any more books in that series, so that's sad. And it's like from 10 years ago or something. The only other thing I've been doing is continuing the audiobook of Queenslayer. Queenslayer, that's what it's called. And I'm really enjoying it, but like every single one of these books, it almost feels like a completely different story because sure we're following the same character, but he's in another completely different part of the world and it's not really connected to any of the things that have happened before. I know that it will be, and he's bringing all the things he learnt from before to the story, and I'm sure some of the other past characters are going to come along, but like again, we've got a whole new cast of characters. It's like every single book in this series, it's like a whole new cast of characters and a whole new kind of magic normally, although I don't think we've got a new kind of magic in this one yet. We'll see when it comes along. I am only, this is the other app which doesn't tell me the percentage. It's a mystery, but simple maths would suggest I'm about a quarter of the way in, so I'm not very far through. I will have to continue that in this week upcoming. But honestly, this vlog has about 50 million books in it, and I don't feel like there's any kind of like cohesive theme. You know, I've got like middle grade and children's books and graphic novels and adult fantasies, and I feel like I've been really stressed and not having any time to read, but I have had lots of time for audiobooks, and so somehow I've already finished 10 books this month. crazy. Anyway, I am gonna go, but thank you for hanging out with me this week. Do let me know if you've read any of the books that I did read this week, and if you did, what you thought about them. Otherwise, I hope that you are doing well, and I will see you next time.